Our guest today is Chandler Matkins. He has 1 million followers on TikTok, over 300 million views on his videos.
Don't ask me how I did it, I just did it. It was hard.
That song has been republished by celebrities, major brands. You even did a collab with Shaq at some point.
Stack money anywhere I'm at, money is a fact, money, rap money, or the act money, Shaq money.
But what I'm curious to know is, what was your biggest mistake in your social media journey?
Genuinely, the first thing that comes to mind is in the early days, this is probably like late 2021, but it's still such a prominent problem. I see it happen to people all the time. And it's pretty, this is specific to music, but people not having their song up on, doesn't even have to be the DSPs. Like, it has to be somewhere where, you can reroute people off of social media to begin building your listenership, right? Yeah. And the first time I had a song go really viral, millions of views, all this stuff, I didn't even have the song finished. I duetted a video, it went off. The producer and I wanted to make the song together, but it took us 10 days or something like that. Well, the song still ended up doing really well.
Yeah.
But if I had that song out when the video started moving, the song would have done millions and millions of more hits on the DSPs, because I didn't have anywhere to direct people to. It was just the video. People's attention span is like, you know what I mean?
Like in the 10 days it took to actually produce the full song, people have kind of already forgotten that it existed.
If you're trying to get yourself off the ground and trying to build that listenership that you can retain, you gotta have somewhere to redirect people off of these social media apps that are now like entirely discovery based, which is a gift and a curse, because you can have all these followers and they might only see your video once.
Yeah, 100%. I think a lot of people think of social media as like the end all be all of like, if I get all the followers, all the views, I'll be good.
Yeah.
But what they often forget is social media is the top of funnel. Yeah. You funnel people in to then monetize through different platforms like Spotify, through the concerts, through tours, collaborations, whatever. And I think a lot of people just think about the social media ad revenue. And what a lot of the big players are doing, or people who are coming up, is they learn how to monetize it through merch, through these tours and all this extra stuff, so that you can keep making all of that stuff that you love doing. Because most people don't make money solely off of social media.
What you're getting for millions of views on some of these, TikTok, Instagram, it's nothing.
It's nothing.
It's nothing. It's not worth the work. It's not even worth, it's so little that it's not even worth thinking about it, in my opinion. Like, it's like, if you were like somebody like, maybe if you were like somebody that, you're fucking Mr. Beast or some shit, you know what I mean? Maybe you think about it. You have an employee that thinks about it. You know what I mean? But like, your time is so much better spent trying to build a community that you can give to, that will then, you build trust with them and they want to give back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Building the community is something you've done really well.
Appreciate that.
I'm so curious, what lessons did you learn along the way? Because I don't think a lot of people are good at that aspect.
I kind of fall in the middle. I know people that are, they could teach master classes on this. You know what I mean? Like, one of my friends, Damage, she's an incredible rap artist that, big activist. The music is very anti-establishment, and like, it fits in a niche that there's building a community around. Maybe seems like an easy thing to do, but the way in which she has done it through Discord and what we're talking about, the tours, it's like really, really unbelievable. So there's, there's like some people that have it like totally on lock. I don't necessarily see myself as one of those people, but at the same time, like, you know, I'm obviously like utilizing like every broadcast channel, and, you know, have gotten, especially over the last couple of years with the growing of the shows, like really, really focusing on like things like bands in town and ways to capture, you know, email so that you're able to like target, you know, I used to like just post on social media and be like, I'm coming to this place. I'm coming to Omaha. I hope the people in Omaha see it, you know? And it's like, I have no way to, you know,
Control that.
Yeah. But as you continue to like, as you continue to build, it's like, you know, I kind of feel like every time I figure out another way to potentially get more specific with who I'm trying to reach, it's like, write it down. And at this point, I just have a big list of like every time, you know, a tour's coming around or a merch rollout or new music or whatever. It's like I just got this big thing to refer to.
Yeah.
It's just like a checklist, you know?
We work with creators a lot at my company, and I think what's so hard to teach creators or hard for them to really internalize is that your success is only built upon your systems. Mm-hmm. You cannot be uber successful unless you have a really good system in play, like this checklist that you're talking about, where you're like, I gotta do this every single time, and if I do that, I know I'm gonna get this many ticket sales, or I'm gonna get this type of engagement. And I think a lot of creatives, it's just very antithetical to how they think, and they don't want to do that repetitive task.
Yeah.
But if you want to be serious about this, you have to, or you hire somebody who can do that for you.
I've been doing music my whole life. There was a point in time where I didn't care. I never thought about any of this. It was just for fun. You know what I mean? And if that is what you want out of this, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. It's music is at its most fun when that's all it is. Yeah. You know, just music for music's sake. It's great. And I think the best musicians that I can think of come from that place. Mm. But if you're walking around like wondering why nothing is to you like seeming to resonate with others, or why you don't have whatever return customers, whatever you want to call it, the playbook is out there. You know what I mean? There's a path to not guaranteed success in that side of things, but there are 1,000,010 ways to up the chances that you get what you want, if what you want is more than to just make music for yourself and your friends and family, you know?
For you, what has been some of those things that you did to up your chances?
Well, I mean, the biggest one, and people hate to hear it, but it's an everyday thing. It's just every single day you have to show up and you have to remind people that you're here. Mm-hmm. Even if you, and that's like the beauty of that is like, that's just about getting it out. Mm-hmm. Once you like, I just read something that was like, you know, like make it exist and then perfect it. You know, yeah, it was, I don't remember who said it, or I just saw it this morning. And that's so simple and has been said 1,000,010 ways, but that's so true. Put it out there and trial and error. Yep. If you looked at my shit in like 2021, you would be like, I literally can't believe this is the same guy. This shit is.
Look at this goober over here.
It's literally, dude, I'm like, but it took falling and getting back up and all, you know what I mean, to like figure out what is the actual thing that works, and you'll never stop doing it, especially as long as you're like, I mean, at this point, I started to say as long as you're independent and doing it on your own. But at this point, I think it's true for everybody, because the labels are just trying to sign independent artists that already know how to do what the labels used to be the people that did for you, you know? Yeah. So I think it's everybody. It's so ever changing that you're just constant, like right now, you know, like this time last year, I was at my peak listenership, viewership, more than I'd ever had. I was like, you know, I was just blown away by where I had taken it. And where I'm at now is at a total like plateau, you know? But the first time that happens, you freak out.
Yeah.
But the real trick is to hit that new peak and then just make sure that wherever you plateau, even if you plateaued just a little bit higher than the last time you plateaued, you should be thanking your lucky stars that you did.
That's how we describe social media to our clients a lot too, is we always say, listen, at some point you will see exponential growth and your mind will explode. You're like, how is this happening? That will stop. At some point you are, and we call it the plateau. You will hit the plateau, and that's the time where you go, okay, what's the next thing? How do I iterate on this? What can I learn from what I did? And continue tinkering and trying different things so you can reach that next launch. But I think that plateau for a lot of people is so discouraging because, you know, your monkey brain sees big numbers going up and you're like, yes, yes, yes. And then when that stops and it somehow seems almost immediate sometimes, you're like, oh, I'm not maybe as good as I thought, or whatever, or maybe people don't like me as much as I thought. It's like, no, this is just how the platform works, is it rewards novelty. And when I say it, I really just mean people, because the platform is all people. People want to see new things, new things, new things. And you can kind of train them for a month or two of like, this is the style we're going with, isn't this cool? And they're like, I love it. But eventually they will get bored of it and you need to pivot.
The most dangerous thing you can do to like your mental as a creative is to look at everything close up. You know, you got to look at it from, and I'm guilty of this. I do it every fucking day, but it's like, you got to look at it like this and look at the ground and be like, damn, it's like when you walk, you know, when you walk up the mountain and you're like, damn, I can't believe I was just right there. That's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you got to do. But so often, you know, and that's even what automatically populates when you look at your like analytics and stuff. You know, if I'm looking at analytics on a DSP, the first thing it's going to show me is the last 24 hours. You know what I mean? And it's like, that can be really discouraging. It's like, oh, in the last 24 hours, this time last year, in the last 24 hours, I was doing this. It's like, yeah, but were you doing this every day for the last year? You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
What do you think was like an aha moment for you? Because you're constantly iterating. Like you said, your stuff maybe a few years ago is completely different to what you're doing now. But did you have a moment where you're like, oh, this is what people typically like from me?
I don't know if there's been some like big overarching like aha moment. There's been a lot of like small moments where I'm like, oh, okay, this is actually probably the biggest one. Realizing that whatever you intended to say in the song isn't necessarily how it's going to be taken, good or bad. And the example that I'm thinking of is,
Don't ask me how I did it, I just did it. It was hard.
when I said that, I literally was like, I don't know. Like, I just said it. You know what I mean? I didn't hear it the way that the people that started making videos,
That 2 billion other people heard it.
Like, I didn't hear it that way. I was literally like I've talked about this on podcasts before. Like, I was in a moment where I had been, I think at that point I'd been full time for maybe 9 months, and it was plateauing in a way where, going back to plateauing in a way where I was like, okay, I tried. I don't know if I'm going to be able to stick this out this way. And I was just feeling very, very defeated and all this stuff. But I had a session that day and I went in, and that's what came out. And then that's it. And I think a couple months went by before it actually came out. And the day it came out, instantaneously, it was heard in a totally different way. And you know, the first person that, not the first person, but the first person to make a video that, you know, blew it up was this Amish woman. And she was like, the caption was like, how'd you get a cell phone? And she was like, don't ask me how I did it. It was just hard. I'm forever indebted to that Amish woman.
Yeah.
That did it. everybody saw that and they were like, and all of a sudden it was applicable to everybody. Everybody had a moment like that.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, you know, how did I get to the other side of this surgery? How did I get to the end of graduating med school? How did I, you know what I mean?
I saw like an astronaut in space
Yeah.
doing your song.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell, man?
That's so, yeah, exactly. That's so crazy. It's like, so, going back to trying to circle back to the aha moment thing, that was probably the biggest aha moment, was that my words and our, like what we say as writers, as lyricists, like can take on a whole new meaning as soon as you put it out in the world. So I try not to get like too hung up on you know, and trying to like authentically, like, you know, some people would hear that and they would go, he said that because he knew that before it came in. That's how he heard it. I didn't hear it like that at all. That's just exactly how I was feeling. And that's part of why it probably resonated with people as much as it did, because I was in one of those moments.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So yeah, being authentic and letting that shit out and not getting too hung up on it, like that really, really opened things up in terms of my writing and also how I would present things on social media.
Yeah, I feel like in any entertainment industry, and especially the music industry, there are all these agencies and labels that are trying to like replicate success.
Yeah.
And they're looking at all these different data points. Well, this song had this, this, and this, so we need to make a song that has this, this, and this.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the times, most of the time, what they forget is that human element. To your point, like this line was just such a throwaway line for you, but it is how you felt. And that resonated somehow, maybe the way you said it, the part of the song, whatever, and that propagates. But also to your point earlier about just making sure you have as many shots on goal as possible, it's like just make it. Don't overthink it too much. I know you guys are creative, so you're probably gonna overthink everything about it. But just release it and see what happens and learn from that and then do another one and then do another one.
I do genuinely believe that like quantity and artistic integrity can coexist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just because every day you see either something new from me or you see something old that I have repurposed, that doesn't mean that I don't give a fuck about what, and I'm just throwing shit at the wall. I couldn't care more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm doing that because I care so much, and I want you to see what I have. What the fuck I look like sitting around making all this stuff, you know, and I don't give a fuck about anybody seeing it. No, I care. I want people to see it. That's why I do it. So, but it has, you know, I just think so often when you talk about like this independent, you know, modern day social media X music grind, like the question of artistic integrity gets like thrown in there in like a way where, you know, that's something that people have just decided to leave behind. And I do think in a lot of cases that is true, but it doesn't have to be. That's a you thing. Your artistic integrity is like, you know, that's in you. That's something you got to hold on to. You got to figure out how to make it work and how to make it resonate like in the parameters that we've been given to work in, you know?
I'm so curious on that thought. How has social media influenced what type of music you make? You know, because that is the hard part. Like you want to be a successful, you want to be a successful artist, and part of that means you have to cater to what your audience wants from you.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, you also want to make stuff for yourself. So I'm so curious how you balance that and how much you've had to change your music because of your following.
There was a point in time where like, you know, I would be writing and it wasn't, again, back to the artistic integrity thing. It wasn't that I was writing a bunch of shit that I didn't believe in or that I was lying or that I was, you know what I mean? Or that I was over exaggerating or anything like that. I'm a big believer in, you know, the no cap in the rap as they would say, but you know, I'm like writing back then in a way where like, okay, I just said this, and if I were to make a video and it were to start here, what could I say next that would make it be like, you know what I mean? That would like stop people in their tracks. You know what I mean? So starting to think about like, I'm trying not to, I really don't that much anymore, but there was a point in time early, especially when, you, like I said, you first get that dopamine rush of viewership, and you're like, oh my God, I can't lose this, and trying to put little things in songs to stop traffic and make people go, whoa, what did he just say and all that stuff. I would say that's the main way in which it has changed, that it did at one point change my music, but that's something that I've been trying to shy away from. I think that became too much. Everybody started to do that. The majors, you know what I mean? Like everybody, they just started writing like you were trying to make a commercial, like trying to get, you know what I mean? And like, I think everybody's trying to unlearn that a little bit. It came and went so quickly, and we're just like fiending for authenticity, especially in this AI age and all this stuff. We're just like fiending to like see some real human shit that feels like feels nostalgic and post all this crazy bullshit that's happened over the last decade,
Yeah, it's interesting because like when I work on a video, for example, and we're making a script, we literally have a table where there's two columns, and we have the audio and we have the video side, because we need to match and think through all of that kind of stuff. So you're saying at some point when you were blowing up, that's kind of how you were thinking about music too, was how is this line going to be captured? What visual can I use for this line for social media?
And like, where would I where would a short form video start? Like, or where would the song start in a short form video? You know what I mean? Like structurally for the song too. And like, how do I place that? Like if I'm trying to like highlight the hook, how do I like place that thing close enough to the hook to where like I won't lose the retention in between the two, and all, you see what I'm saying? And
like the timing of
before you know it, it's like, fuck, I'm writing within such constraints that it's like really difficult,
Yeah. That's such a hard thing, because I do think good artistry can blossom from constraints.
For sure.
But at some point, you will hit that wall where you're like, I've done this 5-10 times, and now I'm just constrained. Yeah. I'm not being creative anymore. I'm just struggling with keeping it within the boundaries.
Yeah. When I first started making rap music again, because I have been making rap music since I was a kid, but when I first started making music during COVID as Chandler, even then, even though I knew this and I had gone through this process before, starting a new project with a new name and a new sound and everything, once again, I just felt like I had all this stuff to prove, because in the 6 years that I hadn't put anything out publicly, even though I'd still been creating in private, in those 6 years that I hadn't put anything out publicly, I totally lost like anybody that knew that this was even a part of who I am. Yeah. So I came back out totally feeling the need to prove myself again. And in doing that, you get behind the mic and you're like, I gotta go fast, and I gotta yell, and I gotta be like, you know what I mean? And I really gotta like, I gotta prove this shit that I'm like, you know what I mean? But the most impressive shit to me is when it just feels effortless.
Mm-hmm. I feel the same thing with videos. A lot of the times, if I hire someone like a beginner editor, I always have to tone them down significantly and just say, hey, I know you want to add all the effects. I know you want to do all this super flashy stuff. That looks awful. Yeah. When you're actually watching it as a viewer or listening to it as a listener, it doesn't sound good. It doesn't look good. Objectively, it's cool. It's cool to look at or whatever, but people don't appreciate it as much.
Yeah, and you're appreciating it because you know what it took to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I like to always tell people when it comes to videos, when these editors are doing all this super flashy stuff, I say, go watch your favorite film or go watch your favorite TV show. Look at how many effects they're using.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
It may be one, but nothing fancy.
Yeah.
And within that lack of outward fanciness is the beauty of the art. Because you can make something that is more simplified than you thought, and it can still resonate with people, it can still touch people. And arguably, I think simplifying things helps reach more people.
Yeah, yeah.
It lets-
because it doesn't isolate. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't, if you're trying to slap people in the face, some people like that, some people don't. You know?
As a creative, you got to be an active listener. You got to take the world in like so much. I feel like be a consumer first, whatever. I worked at a car showroom for a South Korean brand, and one of the big things that we always talked about, whether it was giving a test drive or giving a walk around or whatever, was in the design, the concept of the beauty of white space. And it was just about what you're talking about, this simplification, you know, like this, it's simple, but it's elegant. And there's, you know what I mean? You're not like, it's minimalist. It's not over, you know what I mean? And I legitimately tried to bring that into my music, and it's gotten to the point where it's created somewhat of a signature sound, this beauty of white space idea where like I, you know, within a verse, like I go, I say this, and then it's this big pause and this big breath, and then it comes back in, you know what I mean? And like, so, yeah, like, I don't remember why did that why did that come up after what you said?
Well, I think what maybe you're trying to say, and it's a philosophy I use with my own content and stuff, is the simplicity allows the special moments to really shine.
Yeah.
And it allows, if you're going to do a shift in your song, a shift in the video, it feels way more impactful if the rest of it's just a little toned down.
Yeah.
So adding that breath also allows people to process what's going on a little bit.
Yeah.
That's why, like, for example, I love Eminem as a rapper. I think he's great. I don't really like his music because he's so fast, I can't even comprehend what's happening.
Sure.
And when you let people just breathe for a second and take it in, then they can connect with it a little bit more.
Sure, yeah.
And I do that a lot with videos. I call it the wave. I always like start fast, get their attention, and then I slow things down, let them understand and process, and then I ramp back up and slow down. And that allows people to appreciate the content that they're watching way more.
You also got me thinking about Eminem now. Bro.
You got some thoughts on Eminem?
I just went through, I mean, anytime Eminem comes out, I went through such a huge Eminem phase.
As most people did. Most guys went through an Eminem phase.
Yeah, I mean, Eminem is one of, I mean, to me, Eminem is one of the greatest rappers of all time. But I'm just going through the discography in my head.
Yeah, just
like,
processing through
I'm
all.
like, damn, that motherfucker got a lot of good songs.
But going back to that, like, inspiration, I literally used to throw creator events called Inspo. And my philosophy behind the event is let's bring a bunch of different types of creators together, because I really think that will inspire them to see what they do a little differently.
Yeah.
Let's bring some cool filmmakers, some social media people, some music artists, graphic designers, and let's have them present their stuff to each other and then talk about it and ask questions. And it does something, like you're saying, that active listening, I think, is a skill that not a lot of people really use. I think a lot of people try to mimic, which has its own uses, especially when you're starting off. But if you're mimicking something, it's like AI. You're just producing the average of an idea.
Yeah.
You need to listen to whatever your brain is saying to you or how you perceive the world, and that is how you end up connecting with others. That's how you have deep conversations, is diversity of thought. And that allows us to see the world differently. And
I mean, just making music your whole life is so crazy because you just hear it all. I've heard everything there is to hear said about what I have made, and it's influenced it in such a way, you know, where you can, even if you make something that the majority of people fucking hate, you can take so much pride in it because you know it's you know, it's not the average. Yes, it's not the average. It is literally the product of the time that you spend. Yeah.
I want to go back to some more social media specific conversation. What do you love most about social media when it comes to your career and your music?
Yeah. I mean, its ability to help me reach all of these people, you know. I mean, like I said before, the discovery aspect that we're living in now is such a double-edged sword. But like at the end of the day, we kind of are so blessed to live in this era where somebody in fucking, you know, Poland can listen to, you know, my music just because they happened upon it in an organic, you know, way. So yeah, I mean, the ability to reach people, the ability to, you know, garner a community is priceless.
What's the other side of that? What do you hate most about social media?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, it's like, it's tough to complain about it because you know, you probably wouldn't get this following pre-social media. But if you had this following pre-social media, we'd all be living in a house up on a hill. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so crazy that like people can be unimpressed by millions of views at this point because it's so like, you know, I sit around and I think about like on a monthly basis just how many people see or hear, come across for 2 seconds, how much it's out there, you know, and how, you know, comparative to so many other things, that's, you know what I mean? Matthew McConaughey and Wolf of Wall Street, Fugazi, the
Fugazi, the Fugazi.
Fugazi is fairy dust. It doesn't exist. It is no matter.
Do you feel a lot of pressure for your videos to succeed on social media?
I am successful enough where I am able to do this full time, but I am not successful enough to where every decision is not super consequential. So every time I put time, energy, money into a video, I'm taking a risk. You know what I mean? So it's like, if a video doesn't perform well, that's where my mind goes. I think about the time and the energy and the money. It doesn't necessarily, it doesn't devalue the video to me at all. You know, I mean, some videos, like some stuff I make, I'm like, for sure, this is it. And then it doesn't at all. And then there's other times where like I make stuff and I'm like, sure, I spent time, I guess they need to see this. And then it's like, you know what I mean? It's just like, fuck. It just, and I'm like, what? You know? So yeah, I mean, sometimes it's like, but yes, no, I am definitely one of those people that cares. There's just, I put too much into it to not care, you know?
How much of your mental health is like worsened by social media or even helped by it?
I don't know. It's probably a lot, honestly. I mean, it's like, it goes through phases, you know? I mean, I've come to cope. I cope now in a way that I didn't before. I went through like it was so bad when I was in, I mean, I really, really didn't think that something could happen that would make me want to like throw in the towel. But like in the beginning of last year, I was on a song with my buddy Billy called Big Body Brothers. And my part of the song got turned into a huge meme that was just everywhere.
I'm running all over the place, blue in the face, looking like Sonic. Got him on stage around 9, and the next day they called it iconic.
It was like inescapable. Now it probably felt more inescapable for me because it was like I had to turn my notifications off on everything. You know what I mean? It was like I could not. It was a month of like it was as if people were just in my house all the time. You know what I mean? It was just like the way it felt was like I just felt like I was like it was Big Brother, you know.
Just to clarify before you dive in, when you say it got turned into a meme, you mean in a negative way?
I mean, I think it depends on how you look at it, but what the meme did was, for the most part, draw people to the song for people to critique the song negatively. Yeah, because. You know, and I think it's kind of turned around now a little bit, but I'm that moment was like that in terms of mental health, like that almost did it. I was like, it was so heavy. It was so much. It's my biggest video of all time. It's like it has. I don't even fucking know. I think it's probably 13, 14 some million on TikTok, probably another 8-digit number on Instagram, and God knows how many videos with the sound between the memes and stuff. So many videos of the meme with millions of hits and all this stuff. And it was just so much negative. And there was positive sprinkled in there, but
yeah, but you
that's
just
where
look at the
that's
negative.
where your eyes go. You know what I mean? And like, and it was. And I was in a spot where like I was going on tour.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
oh man,
I was like, I'm going to be able to see it in person, which is very scary.
Yeah.
And when it stopped was I had a show in Chicago, and the show in Chicago was almost sold out. Halfway across the country. I've never headlined there, and it was almost sold out. And we actually were in a smaller venue, and it sold out, and they had to move us to a bigger venue.
Wow.
So that was like, okay, wait a minute. So like, there's always this. Okay, so in a sense, there's always a silver lining, right? Now let's see how it plays out once I'm actually here.
Yeah.
And then I got there. It's pandemonium. It's like they are fiending for the meme.
Yeah.
They want to see the meme. I mean, they're literally like pages sent people to, because this was the first big show post the meme, and meme pages sent snipers to, you know what I mean, to like
to capture
it in real time. There were so many edits of this show. I mean, you would have thought everybody was there. You know what I mean? It was like there were so many edits of this show, but after that, tickets. And 2 months later, I was at my peak on everything. Almost 500,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. Tour so super. We went on a super profitable tour. Billy and I and our friend Lex, we went on a super profitable tour, and on the other side of the country where I've never even played before. And what happened when the dust settled was all the people that stuck around that actually liked it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't even think about it. You know what I mean? And now it's a song I play at every show, because the people that are still here are the ones that are like, well, I don't know, I kind of fuck with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like that is like, that's the biggest like mental health hurdle that I've had to overcome since social media, became so prominent for pushing my music. But I would go through that situation again. There's always a silver lining.
Yeah.
There is always a silver lining.
Yeah, I mean, I know you went through that in a much smaller way recently on Reddit. I know one of your songs got on the subreddit Crappy Music.
r/crappy music, yes.
And
I think it's the same song.
Same song,
I think it's the same song.
And
I might be wrong.
And just on Reddit, from when I looked at it, it had like 30,000 views. And for Reddit, that's like pretty significant. And then I just saw all of your videos with that song on your page were just blowing up because of that.
I think it's the same. I think it's the same song. Isn't that funny that I'm like, which one?
Yeah. Could be any of them. But that flooded people to your page because of that. And like you're saying, the shitty part is you do have people that are bashing on you, but that also will bring in people who like your music or who discover you because it's being made fun of, and they stick around. And they love
you also,
for
you got to think about like, okay, I got all these eyes on me. How can I change their mind? You know what I mean? I got a lot of songs. I got a lot of different sounds. You know what I mean? And, you know, engage with people in the like, you know, people are like, I don't even engage with it. Bullshit. Engage with people in the comments. Like, you know what I mean? Dude, sometimes motherfuckers are talking shit just to, more often than not, they're talking shit just to talk shit.
Yep.
Hit them with a, this is my favorite one. I hope you find happiness in this life.
slap them in the face.
I hope you find happiness. And they'll be like, yo, my bad, big bro. I had a bad day. Blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? You never know. Somebody, I mean, it's usually a reflection of themselves more than it is of you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Not always. You know, sometimes people really hate it. But, you know, it's like, it's never what it seems. But when your social media, like, takes a turn like that, think of ways to redirect them to something that, you know, they might like, prove them wrong, whatever. You know, people came to that last year was the most attendance that we had at the shows. And I had people that, you know, we do a free meet and greet after every show. And I had a kid come up to me and be like, dude, I came here to make fun of you, but that was really good. And he was like, and now your immediate thought is like, fuck you. but the reality is actually like,
you proved him wrong.
You know what? Cool. I'm cool. Yeah. You number one, you bought a ticket to my show. You gave me money, right? You're now standing in my merch line waiting to meet, you know what I mean? Like I'm not pressed about your opinion to begin with. But number two, you came to the show and I proved, you know what I mean? Because that's the thing is like you got to build something undeniable. Yeah. You know, people can't come to the show. You can come to the shows and you can still not like it, but you can't come to the shows and be like, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. Oh yeah. You know what I mean?
You know how to put on a show.
You know what I mean? Like you can't be like, so yeah, you just have to, you have to be confident, weather the storm, you know, and you can handle the mental turmoil of the social media.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Do you think it's possible to have a successful music career without social media?
I do. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. If you have rich parents, I think it's really hard, but I think it's possible. Yeah. I think it's still really, really valuable to connect with community in person. Mm-hmm. The independent route is not for everybody. You know what I mean? Like there are still labels, you know, that find people at the very, very beginning of their, you know what I mean? And I'm not going to sit here and say that's the only way, but I mean, if we're being honest, there is no denying that it is by far the way. You know, it's like
it's the easiest path forward.
Yeah. I mean, there's no. I would never like look at like if tomorrow I met like a 21-year-old that just moved here and he's like, yeah, I'm looking to make it in music in the big city. I would never tell him to like go to a mixer before I would tell him to get on social media if he wasn't on social media yet. Now I might say, and also go to this, but that's never not going to be, if you're not doing that yet, if you don't want to do that, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, and again, there are other paths, but they're going to be way fucking harder.
Yeah,
way
absolutely.
harder. But I mean, it's all about the universal truth of the music industry. Even post all this social media blowing up all this shit, it's still about who you know.
Yeah.
You know, but you can meet a lot of those people though.
I agree that knowing people is 100% the battle of who can you connect with. How the hell did you end up getting a collab with Shaq?
That's how it went.
Love your flow, my guy. Keep that shit going. What was your response to just getting the...
I thought it wasn't real for sure. I was like, he's so humble. It's so funny. I'm literally like, I was telling him about this song that he has with this group Coyote called Three Locos. And he's like, damn, for real? Thanks, bro. I should be having fun. It's like, yeah, you're fucking Shaq, gang, bro. What are we talking about?
So you're just gonna a random cold
I was
message.
in the shower, and I got out of the shower. I looked at my phone, and I was like, bullshit. I literally thought it was just like a random page. It was, it's just back when probably had my all the settings on my notifications. I just didn't even. It literally did not occur that I just thought it was a random. Yeah. It did not occur that it could actually be him. And then I like probably brushed my teeth, and then I was like, and then I was and then I went to the page, and I went back to the message, and I went to his page. I was like, this is fucking. I was like, it's really fucking Shaq. And then I sent him that message, and you can see there that he didn't have the replay on it, but you can see there that there's a video that he sent immediately after. And he sent me a video of himself, like encouraging me to keep going and all this stuff. And then we just got to chopping it up, and it jumped from Instagram to texting, and him and I were texting back and forth. And at some point, the prospect of potentially doing a song came together. And I sent him some stuff. I sent him some songs that were already out that I'd been thinking about remixing, and he was like, send me this shit. And literally, like, maybe not even 48 hours later, he sent me back stems, and then we went through the mixing process. And it did take a minute. I mean, you can see those are in October. This October 2024. The song didn't come out until February 2025. So it took like whatever that is, 4 months or maybe a little over 4 months. Yeah, for the song to actually come out, because we had to go through the legal process and everything, because it's Shaq.
It's Shaq, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it wasn't as easy as collaborating with my childhood friends that make music, but yeah, it was incredibly organic, and all due to social media. Yeah.
That's insane.
It was super crazy.
Like,
it was crazy enough that he said anything. The fact that the things that transpired after the fact transpired, it was, and like, we have texted since then. You know what I mean? It wasn't even like I never heard from him again type thing. You know what I mean? Like I think I've texted him happy birthday. I texted him during the NBA finals last year. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
that's crazy.
It's fucking crazy.
And it seems like from the text messages I saw, it's just a normal conversation with this guy.
He's literally it's beyond chill.
It seems like your buddy you've known for 20 years is just texting you.
He sent me that shit, and he said, what do you think? I'm like, what do I think? You're Shaq. I don't know.
You tell me, what do you think?
I'm like, it's good, but I don't know. It's great. I mean, you could fucking, do whatever. But I appreciate so much that he cared to know what I think. It was validating for me, You're talking about the song that you guys made, like getting the feedback? Yeah. Like when he sent me his verse, like he didn't just send it and be like, here, take it or leave it. He wanted to know what I had to say, and we went back and forth. And
what was the feedback you gave to Shaq?
I think I can't, don't quote me on this. I can't remember. I think I can't remember if he sent an ad-lib track initially. And I think maybe I asked him for an ad-lib track.
Okay.
Because I wanted it to feel cohesive with what I had done, which had a lot of emphasis and ad lib on it. So I think maybe I asked him something about that if he hadn't already sent it, but I can't really remember.
Gotcha.
But that would have been it. I didn't say it. The verse was like, I was like, I can't even. I was like, has Shaq ever even rapped on a beat like this? It was like a hard hitting, like, bass borderline trap, like, and he was like heavily in the DJ Diesel world, at the time. So like it had been, I think we were his first release as a rapper of last year. And I don't think he had put out anything as a rapper in many, many months, if not longer than that at the time. So it was great, to make a splash. It came at a time when like I had a lot of shit going on. Like it was like I was about to move to New York. So I had this big show in Richmond, like that I was leaving for. And like I set it up all very like I told all of the local publications in Richmond like a week before it came out and was like, can y'all let's do an interview and have this ready to go like the day before the show. So the morning the song came out, every publication in Richmond, it felt like, had a thing that was like Chandler collabs with Shaq, NBA All-Star, blah, 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 all this stuff. How did this happen? Well, you know what I mean? Like, blah, blah, blah. And that shit was rolling out. And then the next night I had like my big goodbye show. And it was just like, it was so crazy because it was like, that really felt like, and I was on an upward trajectory because of the meme Big Body Brothers thing, at least in terms of numbers. So it was all kind of like happening at once. My cat died like 2 days before this happened. It was literally like, it was like I was moving, my cat died, but a song with Shaq came out, big show, 400 people, like, almost whatever, like, it was
life hits you like that, man. Life is just like, will throw everything at you at once.
And then to go back to, and then like, and then you're like, and then your job is like, the job is to like be active on social media all the time. All this stuff is going on, and I'm just like, all right, lock in. You know what I mean? It's like it's still so. Social media is like, it's just this like through line that it'll be crazy to go back and look at it all one day. I've gotten really proactive about archiving everything. Like if I remove stuff.
Yeah, don't delete it. Yeah, save it for later.
I've become very, very, like, in the last couple of years, like, touchy about, like, I archive everything so I can, one day I know I'm going to want to look back at all this stuff and be like, damn, can't believe it.
Looking back, if you could travel back in time, what would you have told yourself? What advice would you have given yourself when it comes to your music and with social media?
I mean, I definitely would have, like, told my younger self to not be so concerned with the opinions of others. 110%. I mean, that is a huge part of why I stopped publicly putting out my solo music in I think the last time I released a song was probably 2015, like solo music until 2021. So it was like 6 years in between. So I would definitely say to not be so concerned with other people's opinions, because that's a big part of what stopped me. And I definitely, like, I still concern myself with where I would be had I been doing it all those 6 years publicly. Would all of this stuff that has happened to me had happened to me at 24?
Yeah.
And I would still have all this time. You know what I mean? So I get hung up on that for sure. And so I would say that. But in terms of social media, that's honestly like that's still probably the biggest thing, even if we're just talking about specifically social media outside of music, especially when you first get going. Because when you first get going, the people that are going to see your shit are your friends and your family that are going to tell you it's good no matter what. And that is the hardest part, is those if you can get past those first couple negative social media comments and those DMs that freak you out, and the people that are maybe in your immediate community and it feels too local that have something to say about or what, if you can get past that shit, you're golden, because you become numb to it very quickly, and it doesn't fucking matter. Nothing is for everyone. Nothing is for everybody. The biggest artists in the world have more haters than anyone else. You know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah, Taylor Swift's the biggest artist in the world, and I know tons of people who don't like her.
Literally, like, exactly, like, and you know, it's like, I don't listen to Taylor Swift's music, but like, you gotta respect it. It's fucking crazy. You know what I mean?
I worked with another music artist a few years ago called Yuri, and we would do these like short little documentary music video things. And he's a very philosophical type of artist. And he said, if you want someone to love you, you have to understand that means someone else is going to hate you.
Sure. Yeah. So true. So true.
You can't make something for everybody. And it's a rule in marketing too, of like, marketing is just as much pulling in the people you want as well as pushing away the people you don't want. If you're trying to make something for everybody, no one's going to be happy. You're especially not going to be happy because you're not making things for yourself. And then it all will collapse.
Yeah, take solace in who you know yourself to be, because that's the shit that they like can't take away from you. You know what I mean? And that's the stuff that gets you through those moments. So much of why people might not like something that you do won't even have anything to do with what you made. It'll have to do with who they perceive you to be and the fact that you are the one that made it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you got to hold on to, like, you know, knowing in yourself, this is who I am. This is what I believe. The people around me know my intentions, know my motives. And these random people on the internet that don't know me from Adam are null and void.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They see you for 10 seconds and make a snap decision as to who you are.
Exactly.
They don't know anything about you.
Yeah, and you're going to let that, you know what I mean? You're going to let that be the thing that stops you. You know what I mean? You might be the next fucking Taylor Swift.
Seriously,
I mean, literally, though, that's how you have to think about it. You have to have, like, that opens up a whole other box of words, but you've got to have a certain level of delusional confidence.
I completely agree. Like, my mom, when I was really starting my career, used to tell me I was very arrogant.
Sure.
And I literally went, yep. And I was like, I know I'm arrogant, but I do feel like I need to be. I need to be a little delusional.
I mean, so many other people. I mean, and arrogance doesn't always necessarily mean that, like, you know, arrogance doesn't always necessarily mean like you're an asshole to other people.
100%.
You know what I mean? It's more about the way you think of yourself sometimes. You know what I mean?
And that's how she took it. I don't think I've ever really been mean to other people.
But it's like,
but I was like, yeah, I am going to be the best. Why not me? I can do this. And I would say it with such bravado. Now I've calmed down on that a little bit, but I still think about that with myself. If anyone's going to figure this shit out, it's going to be me.
I talk very confidently like that with my family and very close friends as well. You know, but it's like, you know, I don't go running around saying that to other people, you know what I mean? But it's like, it's you know, you should feel that way. You put a ton of time and energy and money and all that. Like, the fuck do I look like doing all of that? And I actually don't think there's anything to it. Of course I fucking think, you know what I mean? Like, what?
I'm so curious about listening to people's advice. In my career path, I've had so many people who know nothing about what I do tell me how I should do it. And I'm so curious, have you had to deal with that? And what is your kind of response to it?
My rule of thumb is kind of like, there's always something to learn from anybody. Mm-hmm. There's always something to learn, even if it's because they're being an asshole. Like, there's always something to take away. You know what I mean? They might have thought that they were teaching you something, and they actually taught you to not be around X kind of person. You know what I mean? It's like, and there's always something to take away. But yeah, I mean, especially like when they first see you in that. In that peak, you know what I mean? I've had so many meetings with, you know, like, people. I don't want to say anything too specific because I don't want anybody to draw a conclusion. But but yeah, I've had so many meetings and different things where, you know, people have, you know, I took it because I believed that there was maybe some merit to the conversation, or that maybe we would see, you know, eye to eye on some things or whatever. But plenty of them were times when like somebody just, I could be, you know, doing really well on a good trajectory, whatever, seemingly no reason to totally change what I'm doing. And they just think that the version of me that they would come up with would be even better. And it's a total shot in the dark, because it's not even like, you know what I mean?
Have no
They just
evidence.
want to completely impose like their thoughts onto you. They don't want to help you grow authentically.
Yeah.
They want to go, well, I've done this thing in the past that was successful. I'll put you in my box and watch what happens. And it's like, well, it's like, even if you're right, am I necessarily going to be like fulfilled because I did that? Because like, look, I'm a big, the social media I use is all this stuff, but at the end of the day, like, I still care a lot about like, you know, what I'm, you know, who I am and all that. You know, I don't want to be put in your, you know, I don't want to be put in your box. So yeah, I mean, I think everybody has to deal with the unsolicited advice. I've written songs about unsolicited advice. It's in music. In music and like when I was acting, it's such a bad unsolicited advice. Is so people just, you know, they get some motion and they think it's like, you know, if I ask you, give it all to me. But like, I didn't ask.
Yeah.
I don't care. I didn't ask. You know.
You talked about being put into a box. I'm curious if you can be honest in this situation. How much of social media is you versus a persona of Chandler the artist versus Chandler the human being?
When I'm like performing, like, you know, like something turns on in me, you know what I mean? But it is a iteration of who I am. It is not a complete, like, you know, there's no disconnection to me between the two. That's the whole reason that I am Chandler. I don't have an alias, you know what I mean? Like, it's just an extension of who I am as a person. Is the voice a little bit different because I'm rapping? Well, I'm not going to rap exactly like this.
Yeah.
I'm not, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm making a fucking song. There's emphasis and ad libs, and some things mean more like this, and some things are kind of sad and all, you know what I mean? It's like, so in that sense, sure. But like, at the end of the day, I'm not saying things. And, you know, when I was younger making music, like when I was in high school or early college, like I would say things that, you know, just weren't true and they were exaggerated. Just stuff like about you know, because you're just like rapping to rap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm not even thinking about the fact that I'm lying. I'm just, you know, rapping like like as a sport. I'm making these songs and stuff, and I'm talking about money and I'm talking about all this stuff and everything. But as you get older, you know, now my music is about family. You know what I mean? I talk about family all the time. I talk about friends all the time. I try to like make people appreciate what they have via appreciating what I have. I gloat about very mundane things, you know, like I rap about my green car all the fucking time. You know what I mean? I don't say I'm whipping it around in something I rented. I talk about what I have, you know? And, so yeah, you don't meet me and you meet the guy that's like, you know, I'm not going to rap at you, but it's not, you know what I mean? It's not. So no, I mean, I feel very confident that it is not far off from who I am. And that was totally the intention, because that was the biggest critique that I got when I was younger. You know, when I was, you know, 15, 16, 17, 18, I was always battling with feeling like, well, who I am is not going to translate to this music.
Yeah.
You know? And so I I did, it was trying to build a facade that would. And that's what made me, part of what made me stop, because then the opinions of other people and all this stuff, sometimes valid, like they get to you and you're like, well, this isn't even actually me and all this stuff. So the 2021 debut as myself and what it has turned into since then has been all about this authentic journey of, what do I want to make and who am I and the people around me and, all that shit. So,
And I think that's what's led to your success, is
Hope so.
that authenticity.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
man. And I agree with you. I feel like in person, like you're very, I think, quietly confident. And then once you get on stage, it's like, everything I was holding in quietly, we're going to shoot that out now. And we're going to have a great time. Like you bring so much energy. I feel like you save a lot of that energy for your fans when you're ready to meet them.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I've never heard it put exactly like that, but that actually is a good way to put it, because you do feel like, when you're out there or when you're making stuff for people and all that stuff, you do put, so maybe that is part of why I am the way I am when I'm not, you know what I mean? Like on, because I try to put so much into it when I have to be on.
And that's how I interact with the world. Like, if my wife and I are going to like a social event, I'm normally my wife. I know. I recently got married. Yeah. And it's crazy to say still, but I feel very much the same way. Like when my wife and I go to a social event, I'm normally super quiet the entire way there. And I'll tell her, I'm like, I'm gonna put my headphones in and I'm just gonna be like a hermit until
Prepared to.
Yeah. And then the second I get there, I'm like so outgoing. I'm talking
you are.
to everybody. And thank you. I worked on it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you really
that.
are. You're extremely personable.
I try, man. I do genuinely love people. I love learning about them. I love sharing, thoughts and ideas with them. And I very much believe, like you mentioned earlier, you can learn something from anybody. It could be I've talked to homeless people on the street for like an hour. I've talked to a barber or a friend, whatever. Like you can learn from them in some way and connect. I think that's beautiful.
Active listening, all that shit, yeah.
But you can't do it 100%. Like you cannot always be in performing mode 100% or whatever. And I feel like that outgoing side of me is also a performance in a way. Something clicks. It is still me. It's just the energized version of me. I feel like I'm vibrating and I'm connecting with everybody on the same frequency there. To start wrapping everything up here, when it comes to social media, if someone came to you and they said, Chandler, I want to make music, I want to blow up on social media, what is the advice that you would give them? What are the steps that you would tell them to take?
The beauty about starting is that you are not relying on it for your livelihood. You are probably young enough that you still live with your parents, or you're in college and you're getting student loans, or you're working and another job is sustaining you, or a couple jobs, whatever. Like the beauty of starting is that it is not the thing that you have to make money off of to live and fend for your family and whatever. So you don't have to be, like constantly pushing it out like immediately. You have the ability to, if I could go back in time, like just front load a ton of stuff, because that's what I do now. You know what I mean? Like what the shoot we did, or like that I shoot with when I shoot with other people. Like I always have videos, but I got 8 in my favorites right now that are already edited and ready to go for the next week. You know what I mean? And so yeah, when you're first starting out, like get a couple songs in your pocket, get some videos made, and you can make them on your fucking don't be afraid to make the song that the video that changed my life, that made me be able to go full time, shot on an iPhone 12. You know what I mean? Like edited by me, shot on an iPhone 12 with barely any color grade. And
How many views did that get?
Just on, just the first time on TikTok, 6 million. Yeah. So, and that was not even 3 years ago. So things have changed, but I mean, in the big scheme of things, not all that much. That's still very possible. Yeah. Don't feel like you have to pour all this money into it, all this stuff. Make stuff yourself, front load it, and try to have like a month or two's worth of stuff to like roll out, because you never know. The first thing that it only took it only took 10 months of Chandler. Like when I started promoting my music as Chandler, it was January 2021, and I had my first 5 million view rap video 10 months later. Wow. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, being prepared once you get the ball rolling is so important. But take your time, figuring it out while you have the ability to do that, because you're not relying on it. Because that's what's so hard right now for me, is that, like what I was talking about before, every move is consequential because it's what I rely on, so.
In regards to that, like, what is your social media strategy right now? Or do you even have one? What's the game plan?
I do, in the sense that, like, I know, I always have like a music release schedule, and I have like set shoots, that are like, and I know how long it will take me to edit, these kinds of videos that I make that are like these, captioned performance videos that are like, I've tried so many different things, but those are always the ones that perform the best. And I'll continue to try new things here and there, but like, stick to what works in between things, you know what I mean? So I always have those videos batched before music ever comes out. I'm never huge thing, going back to that first thing that we talked about. I'm never promoting music without having a place to redirect people, strong hyperlinks. And I think one of the most valuable things that, in terms of like, social media strategy, trying to redirect people off of these platforms to somewhere else, is weaponizing the comment section. That has probably been the most, that's probably shown, what am I trying to say? That's probably been the most consequential thing, is engaging with people in the comments, using the pinned. You're still so lucky on Instagram to have the ability to pin 2 comments. You know what I mean? Because you can pin, this is where my next show is, and you can pin, this is what the name of the song is that you're listening to right now, and this is where you can stream it, or this is where you can buy it, whatever. So yeah, I focus on those simple things. I look at, I try to look at analytics and but being a one man team, it's, it can get overwhelming. But if you, the difference between people that make it happen and the ones that don't are the ones that keep going and the ones that stop. Yep. So, yeah, it's all about consistency, and you got to post. In my opinion, you still got to post every day. Yeah. When you're starting out,
it goes
at least
back to just reminding people that you exist.
Yeah,
just so quick to forget.
Yeah, and people are so so concerned that, like, that'll be seen as annoying or whatever. But what you have to realize is, every time you can post the same video every day for a week in a row when you're first starting out, and different people are going to see that video every time. You know what I mean? Like, so
That's what blows my mind is that it's such old school thinking of like, oh, I'm being annoying. I'm like spamming people. I'm like, no, we as viewers are spamming ourselves. We're doom scrolling all the time. You're not spamming people. You're just giving them more of what they want to see from you.
And like maybe that was more true in the era of like, you know,
like Facebook or something.
Yeah, or when it was actually like when you were reaching your followers. But the fact of the matter is like, I know people that have less followers than I do on Instagram that do 60 million fucking views every month. You know what I mean? Like the follower counts they're cool. They're really good when you want to get into like business, you know, like when, you know, you're trying to like pitch yourself to a brand or something for a sponsorship. But at the end of the day, like you're talking about trying to get people to hear your music. You need to focus on that viewership and finding those listeners, and every time you fucking post something, somebody at least is going to see it that hasn't seen it before.
Yeah 100%.
Yeah.
Are there any other platforms you have found success in besides TikTok and Instagram?
I mean, YouTube is so vital.
I didn't even know you were posting on YouTube.
You don't see that plaque, bro?
You've got a silver plaque? Why haven't we we should have put that right here. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Is that YouTube Shorts mainly has been your success there?
Yeah. The thing about YouTube is that it actually pays. You know what I mean? So
way
like,
more than any other platform.
Oh my gosh. Like when there's so many little tricks of the trade. But when you got something. Now, I've never had something pop off on YouTube Shorts first, but if something's going viral on Instagram or TikTok, chances are it'll, like, I think of it as those three. If something's going viral on Instagram, it'll go viral on TikTok and YouTube Shorts. Yep. And same thing goes, you can mix and match that however you want to. Those three, like, they will, if it's going viral, I'm talking like, you know, 1 million, 2 million plus views, it'll do that or something similar on the other ones if you keep at it. Try it maybe a different couple ways, make it fit to the, you know, to the banners around it or whatever. But yeah, if you start getting those millions of views, you're going to just be passively, you know, pulling in a couple $1,000s from the Google AdSense payment, you know, and all of that. And that's going to be so valuable when like you've already built this thing that is, you know, you're redirecting people to the DSPs and you have merch for people to buy. And before you know it, all of a sudden you're like, you know, also if you're moving like that, then, you know, you got your pub and you got all this stuff. Before you know it, you're like, because it's not about one source of income. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's about 27
absolutely
sources of income that all make a little bit, you know. Yeah.
And that going back to like the YouTube ad rev, that's why posting consistently is really important as well for your survival. Is it's just more opportunity to succeed, more opportunity to make even just an extra dollar or two. And also why it is important to just post basically the same video on all platforms. It's just more shots on goal, more opportunities to succeed.
I mean, Facebook too. Also, like, I mean, Facebook Reels is huge. I have not had a lot of success on Facebook Reels, but I know tons of people that have. And also, like right now, because they're trying to compete with every other platform, they are paying people out crazy. Yeah. You know what I mean? I mean, they're doing something right now where like, if you have 1 million, you know, you got 1 million plus followers, you can join I can't remember what it's called, but some creator program.
Yeah, creator funds.
Yeah, and you literally just have to post X amount in a month, and it doesn't even matter how many views you get. You just get $3,000 a month.
That's crazy.
Isn't that fucking ridiculous?
You gotta abuse that stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's just crazy. But yeah, you gotta pay attention to that kind of stuff. Yeah.
You don't have to say the numbers, but in terms of the different revenue streams that you get, merch, ad revenue from YouTube, et cetera, where does social media lie on like is it in your top 3 sources of income, top 5?
It's so tough because it's like social media is the reason that any of the other things are valuable, but I don't make barely any money directly off of social media.
But it feeds into everything else.
But it is the reason everything else is profitable. So it's like technically it's the most, you know, because it's like if I didn't have social media with the ability to reach, you know, these people so that they do buy my merch, or they, you know, you make the most money on tour.
Yeah.
That's where the money is really is on tour and merch sales on tour. But it is because of social media that is the case. But in terms of like actually pulling payments off of, I mean, if you count YouTube, you know, as a form of social media, which I think, you know, people do now. I mean, in the moments when things are really, really crazy, I mean, YouTube really does pay the best. But no, on a month-to-month basis, I make next to nothing off of social media because to be honest with you, some of them I don't like. I'm not in the, people have their own opinions about this. Some people think I'm crazy, some people agree. I'm not in like the TikTok, you know, like creator. I have done it many times, and you know, they say it's not true, but I swear to God, every time I go in it, my shit just shoots the fuck down.
Interesting. You think like they throttle views maybe to
I don't know.
not pay you as much?
I mean, that's what it feels like. I can't say that that's true. There's no, like, we don't know for sure, but that's like, if you go look it up, I mean, so many creators, and you see, the thing is like, you would say, right, like, well, who are the creators that are saying this, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's like, if we're talking about just a ton of smaller creators that are barely eligible for that to begin with, it's like, you really could argue like, well, hey, I mean, that could just be your, you know what I mean? Like but I swear, dude, I mean, every time I've done a lot of views, and I've been in it a lot of times. I've gone in and out many times over the years. I probably go in at least once a year just to be like, I do it. And I'm like, nope.
Interesting.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, that's there. I have no way of knowing if that's true, but I have feel confident that I have done it enough times. And not to mention also, we know how much a couple million views in that program pays to begin with. Yeah. You know what I mean? So even if it isn't, it ain't even fucking worth the risk to me. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Isn't worth the literally few extra dollars a month.
Or just thinking about it. I just don't even want to have to think about it. I'm like,
sure. You know. Peace of mind is really important in this field, man. Like, I will pay for peace of mind or not take work for just the peace of mind of not having it.
Yeah, I need, you know, unfortunately we need money to survive. I know this fucking thing over here pays. Why the fuck am I gonna get caught up on this when I've tried it so many times and this is the experience I've had? It could be totally specific to me and I could be wrong and that not be real, but you know, there's a lot you can read about it. And also, if you think about it, it doesn't totally not make sense that would be something that they'd be doing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, we know that these huge companies are fucking people over all the time. Why is that far-fetched? Yeah. You know? Yeah.
I agree with you on that, man. Yeah. My last question for you here. How does it feel to have 1 million followers on TikTok, over 300 million views on your videos, to have, 2 billion replays of your song on TikTok? What is that like?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so blessed. It's amazing, but it's a lot. It's a lot to process, and it changes the way that you look at your day-to-day successes. I mean, just to be honest, I think anybody that is at this place, and there's so many that are in such a higher place or close to it, would probably feel similarly. All of these things that we've talked about have good and bad aspects to them. But at the end of the day, like, yes, I'm incredibly blessed to have that kind of viewership, and I would have never thought in a million years, especially back in 2021 when I started, that this would be the way all of these things panned out, so yeah, I mean, I wouldn't trade it for the world. I hope it keeps going.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
And I hope so too. I'm excited.
Appreciate that.
I'm excited to keep watching your journey because you're always evolving, man. You're always changing and growing and looking for the next thing. And it's so cool to watch those iterations of your career.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Thanks for being here, man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.